We'll be starting in a few minutes. We'll just give it some time for other participants to join us. You're welcome. You're welcome to day 2 of our webinar. So in the meantime, we are all expected to have our microphones on mute. And if we have contributions or questions or anything we want to share, let's all use the message bar to communicate. Once again, you're all welcome.
Thank you, Nadine. Good evening. Message well copied.
Thanks, we appreciate. So we'll begin around 6:05, just so we give everyone an opportunity to be there during the beginning. Feel free to express your thoughts, your worries, questions, anything you have in mind on the chat bar, please. And we'll talk about them. Okay. Great. So I guess it's time to start. Hope everybody is ready. You're welcome back. And it's great to have you join us again for day 2 of our webinar series. Yesterday, we kicked things off by looking at how master's graduates can prepare for global careers. And it was an eye-opening session. And today, we're taking things even further with a conversation that really matters. What should a master's degree actually teach you if you want to make an impact in global development? This season promises rich insights, real-world perspectives, and inspiring conversations that will empower you to align your education with purpose-driven global impact. And we're honored to have you here with us again today. We have an exciting lineup ahead, but your presence, your curiosity, and ambition are what makes this space very meaningful. So let's dive in and shape the future together, shall we? Now we're honored to welcome Mr. Romanos Diongo as today's keynote speaker. Thank you, sir, for taking time off your busy schedule to be here tonight. We appreciate. Dear participants, Mr. Diongo is a highly accomplished finance professional with deep expertise in accounting, auditing, financial analysis, and operations management. He currently serves as financial manager at Action Against Hunger USA, one of the world's leading humanitarian organizations. His international career rather spans both the private and public development sector. He has held key leadership roles, including finance and operations manager at Nature's Breath in Cameroon and financial and admin log manager at the Magna Medical in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he oversaw a gender-based violence program across Kasai and Lomami provinces. He also led finance and administration for a World Bank-funded health program in Cameroon, managing a budget of over 10 million US dollars, driving impact at scale. Mr. Diongo holds an MBA in finance from Phoenix Business School in partnership with Rome Business School, and it's an ACA certified public accountant. His journey reflects the power of a master's degree to unlock leadership opportunities in global development and humanitarian finance. Please join us as we warmly welcome Mr. Romanos Diongo as he shares his insights on building relevant skills for impactful careers on the global stage. Tonight, he will be addressing us on mastering relevance, building skills for global development and leadership career. Now we are delighted to have Mr. Mbinka Fomo as our moderator this evening. He is the group CEO and the founder of CX Touchpoint Group, a leading name in customer experience across Africa. Now, Mr. Mbinka also serves as Secretary General of the Cameroon Association of Customer Experience Professionals and brings rich experience from roles in EcoBank and the American Certification Institute. With an MBA in finance from Phoenix Business School in partnership with Rome Business School, he also serves as a faculty project supervisor and jury member. Now, get ready for an insightful and inspiring session. Let's meet our esteemed panelists, Miss Eposi Frida, permit me. We are proud to welcome Ms. Eposi Frida, a dynamic force in digital innovation and economic inclusion across Africa. She currently serves as the Digital Innovation and Product Development Officer at the African Union Commission in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In this pivotal role, she contributes to the Women and the Youth Financial and Economic Inclusion Initiative under the Women, Gender and Youth Directorate, advancing transformative programs that empower women and youths across the continent of Africa. Before joining the African Union, Ms. Frida co-founded and served as Chief Operations Officer at Data Girl Technologies, where she led bold data-driven innovations. She also brought her expertise to the global stage as a user experience research consultant in Netherlands, applying a user-centered approach to tech and product development. A graduate of Phoenix Business School with an MBA in marketing in collaboration with the Rome Business School, Ms. Frida also holds certification in business office automation technology. As a Mandela Washington Fellow, she passionately advocates for STEM education for girls, championing the next generation of African tech leaders. Her work reflects a rare blend of vision, innovation, and purpose. And please, you have to join me in welcoming Ms. Eposi Frida to today's panel. We are also honored to welcome Mr. Bamai Namata, a distinguished international development professional whose impactful career spans Africa and Europe. He currently serves as manager of resource acquisition for the Congo Basin at the World Food Programme. where he leads strategic donor engagement and business development across 5 countries in one of the world's most vital ecological regions. Mr. Namata has consulted for top-tier institutions, including the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and the European Union, contributing to sustainable development policy, innovation, and grassroots initiatives. His diverse portfolio also includes key roles with the International Rescue Committee, the British High Commission in Cameroon, GIZ, and Big Africa in London. Academically, Mr. Namata brings a solid foundation in communication and development, holding a bachelor's in communication from the University of Boya, a master's in project development in Africa, and a certificate in advanced project and risk management from the University of Oxford. He is currently pursuing an MBA with Phoenix Business School in partnership with Rome Business School. Mr. Namata is a passionate advocate for sustainable development and resource mobilization in Africa, bringing both vision and expertise to today's conversation. Now, we're equally delighted to introduce Ms. Mildred Tebo, a dedicated humanitarian professional currently serving with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the UNHCR, as a field associate, where she plays a vital role in refugee protection and humanitarian response. Ms. Tebo brings a wealth of field experience, having worked as a protection monitoring officer with the Danish Refugee Council in Boya, and previously as a protection officer and supervisor of activities with the Intersource, where she served actually for 2 years. She also contributed to the national human rights effort as a protection officer with the National Commission on Human Rights and Freedom in Bamenda. Her professional journey began as a leader, a legal researcher, and since then, she has built an impressive record in human rights protection and humanitarian work. Ms. Tebo is a proud yearly fellow and a graduate of Phoenix Business School in partnership with Rome Business School, where she has earned her master's in international human resource management. Her commitment to justice, dignity, and protection for vulnerable population makes her a valuable voice in today's discussion. Now, to our keynote speaker, our esteemed panelists, and our wonderful participants, you are all welcome once again. I'll now hand over the floor to the moderator, Mr. Mbinka Fomo, for the next part of this program. Good evening, Mr. Mbinka.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me and you can see me. Hello, everyone. Can you get me 5 on 5?
Yes, we are getting you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I think we are just going to get started with the keynote, which is going to usher us into our conversations of the day. So I would give the floor to our keynote speaker to push in with some energy, and I will be back again to have a conversation with the panelists. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Binka. Nice seeing you. Thanks everyone today, this evening. It's a pleasure coming back home after a long while. It's a pleasure. I'm getting back to the house. Phoenix, Rome Business School, where my roots are coming from, cannot be forgotten because I'm where I am today thanks to it. So let's get started and let's see. Before that, let me first of all share what I have and we'll talk on it. We'll go through it. Can you see my screen, please?
I think it's still loading.
Okay. Let's just be a bit patient. I think it's coming. Can you see it now?
Perfect.
Yes, it's there. Thank you.
Good. Let me put it on. Good. So this evening, we'll be talking about mastery relevance, building skills for global development and leadership. And myself, Mabune has spoken a lot already. I don't need to go into that. I'm Romanus Diongo. So I will be bringing out some key points which we need to understand. We need these skills when it comes to global development and leadership. Remember, there is a saying that the higher we go, the colder it becomes. That saying is very true. When it comes to going at a global level, we have to really prepare ourselves, be versed with certain skills which will serve as a coaching to everything that will be thrown on us when we get to this higher level. So we are going to look at all of this. I just gave some bullet points, some key points, some skills which we'll be needing at this level. So technically, we'll talk about why do we need these skills, what are the skills that we need to build to be able to withstand at a global development leadership. And we'll talk around it, then we'll do some final tips and takeaway. So right away, let me jump into what we have to discuss today, which is building skills for global development rules and leadership. And for us to be able to have these skills, which is needed for global development rules and leadership, we have three things. This is not exhaustive, but these three are very important. We need to combine our technical expertise, our cultural awareness, and strong leadership ability. All of them are interwoven in one way or the other, although they can also stand on their own, but we need this at a global level. We'll see why we need these skills. We'll see how we can acquire these skills, and we'll see how we can blend what we learn at a theoretical level with the practice which is on hand in the field. So what is the first thing we will be needing? What is one of the skills we'll be needing when it comes to this level? One of them is adapt to changes. Remember, we'll always start at a smaller level. Let me call it local level. After which you will have to get to higher level. You will have to get to international level, which is being known here as global level. Definitely, you need to embrace new systems, processes, and leadership style. And all of this demands that you are very strong and very quick in adapting to these changes. And some changes should serve, normally changes should serve as an opportunity. It is true, most people are resistant to changes. They look at change as an obstacle. On the other hand, on the flip side, we should instead view change as an opportunity for us to grab and make use. So when it comes to adapting, we have to stay flexible because this helps for us to be relevant in a global level. So when we change, we adapt to this, it becomes very important. And what else, what next can we pitch from this so that we can stay relevant at a global level? It is our ability to communicate. I know some people may think that communication is just speaking and understanding each other. True. But then there is effective communication and a breach of a language barrier. I will look at it, this very aspect from two different angles. First of all, you should be able to keep your communication clear, concise, and solution-oriented. This is very important. Active listening is also another aspect which is needed at this level. Remember, we'll talk about culture here and how you meet with people from different backgrounds. So you should be able to communicate effectively, present ideas and evidence to back up these ideas. Now, when it comes to the world of academics, the academia use abstract and technical terms, which is okay. But in the workplace, what we need are practical and action-oriented language, which is very important because we are working with other people who are not experts in our field. For instance, I'm finance. If I start using some keywords in finance, probably those in logistics may not understand me perfectly. So I have to switch to something which will make sense to everyone. We need to have a common ground. I just give like the example you can see on your screen. You might use something like quantitative methods indicates a correlation, which is okay. But then another person who is not in this field will not understand what you are saying or may not understand it clearly. So we can break it down in an effective way by just saying the data shows a clear trend we can act on. It is still the very sense, but now it is concise, precise, and it is easily understood by everybody. Now, when we communicate effectively, we also breach the barrier that comes with different cultural background. This brings us to a third point. And this third point has to do with us applying theories to real life problems. I can remember back when I was doing my MBA at Phonic Business School, we always have real life scenarios coming from companies which we had to work on. Little did I know this was going to save me at some point in time. And this is where you have to relate your academic concept, the theories that you know, to work-life scenario. And how can you do this? This is one of the ways. When faced with a problem, ask yourself this question: which model, framework, or principle do I apply or use in this case? How can I make this case? Which principle do I use in solving this problem? Remember, at this level, they want to see your ability to lead, to give good propositions, to be able to carry a team along, to be able to solve problems, to make policies at the strategic level, which served as guides. So you should be able to blend this, all what you studied in the theory, to what applies in real life. Building strong relationship and professional network. When Nadine was introducing the panel members, there was one thing in common which cut across all of them. In one way or the other, they belong to an association. It is important. Why do we need this? We need this because it serves as a link between you and those in your organization and those out of your organization. And how can this be achieved? We can support our colleagues through sharing knowledge, because people tend to even think more or remember people who help them to succeed. We have industrial link groups. There are so many of them. We have LinkedIn, which is a very powerful group. We have alumni networks. All of these will serve as a point of exchange where we can get to understand how seasoned professionals bring in theory and translate it into practice. So it is very important for us to stay relevant at a global level, to belong, to have a strong relationship and professional network. Membership helps to see how experts turn concepts into real life strategy. So it is very important for us to stay relevant at this level, to have these backings. I can remember so many times when I have some difficulties. What I do is I quickly take it to our chartered certified accountant groups. I drop it there. And within 2, 3, 5 minutes, somebody comes out with, oh, I had this very problem. This is how I tackle it. So it is very important for us to build strong relationships and belong to professional network. Deliver consistent value. Consistency is important to stay relevant at a global scales. We should not be horoscope, which today we do this, tomorrow we do that. We should focus on results, not just the tasks. And how do we do this? Ask yourself, how do I add value to my team and to the organization? How does my work drive impact? Remember, at an international level, they try to look at all of these things. What are the impact you are creating? Especially in the world of humanitarian, what are the impact? What changes are you bringing? What changes are you driving? Or you're thinking of bringing? How practical is it? How sustainable are these changes? So we have to deliver constantly. We have to be consistent in our value. And after doing all of this, you need to recalibrate. You need to build yourself. A wise person once said, the illiterates of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but will be those who will not be able to learn and unlearn. So it is good we keep learning and skilling up. Why? Remember, each and every the world is changing so rapidly, and technology is advancing. A lot of things are changing, and you have to keep abreast with all of these changes. Some few years ago, we did not have AI. Today, we have AI, and we are using AI for so many things. So if you stay behind and you don't learn all the time to be abreast, you will not be able to match the pressure coming from an international level or coming from the industry in which you find yourself. So it is important for us to update within industrial trend, tools, and technology. Before now, we used to have something like Excel, which most accountants were using. Today, we have Power BI, which has come and which is doing a wonderful job. So what do you think of it? How do you leverage into that technological advancement? What importance do you pick from the AI, and how can you use it in your profession, in your setting? What are those short courses that you take to stay at float, to stay refreshed? Certifications, attend webinars as we are doing now. All of these will help us to be relevant at the global level, to understand how it works and pick out the nitty-gritty, which will help our skills to be more refined. And we can go further to even study beyond what our field is all about, as this will help us or serve as a push for us to stay relevant. We need to seek practical experience. This is very important. The master's degree is going to give us all we need at a theoretical level. It will give us examples which we'll be needing, but practice will make perfect. And this is where the tire hits the road. And how, what can we do to be able to have a mastery? There are no two ways. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. And we should not wait for the perfect opportunity, because there will never be a perfect one. And even there is, it will take a long time. But if we keep on practicing, we keep on studying, we'll discover that as the days goes by, we learn, we bring into use what we've learned. We also have people who've gone ahead of us. We have different professionals. We can mirror out on them to see how they use experience and other real life scenario to solve practical problems. We can also belong to do voluntary rules. Why not? It's very important. Take on internships. I discovered this when I was with AES Sunel, that most of my colleagues then, by then I was just fresh from the university, the guys from the other side of the country, most of them, before they could finish their high school, they had about 6 to 1 year voluntary service or internship. Before they could get their degree, they have had about 2 years voluntary service or internship. Now, when you blend the both, it helps you to see how you can bring in the theory and translate it into practice. But if you go just with one side, you have difficulties. So it is important that we seek practical experience on a daily basis to stay relevant at the global level. Stay adaptable and curious. It's very important, because if we are not curious, we'll end up knowing just what we know. We should be able to learn on a daily basis, ask questions, observe, question the status quo. Don't let it go that way. Why is it being done that way? Why can't we do it this way? It is important as professionals, we look at these things. We try to see how we can do it better. We have so many industry we went out of service because they decided to stand still. We have Kodak, which is no longer in existence. We have so many, if I have to start naming them. What happened to most of this industry is the fact that, one, they did not adapt. Two, they did not ask questions. They did not find out more easy or relevant and efficient way to carry out what they are doing. And for us now, we've learned this. We understand the importance of staying adaptable and curious. We should be able to blend what we know with what works in practice. This is very important if we want to remain relevant and we want to build these needed skills to be able to serve at this level. Building cultural competencies. Remember, we are talking here about working at a global level, leadership at that level. You will meet with people from different backgrounds, different culture. You have to interact or interwork with people from different angles in the world. From those who come from Congo, Cameroon, US, everywhere in the world. Now, whether we like it or not, our background has a role it plays in how we behave. This is normal. So, as seasoned professionals, we should be able to build these skills to be able to adapt and have cultural intelligence, learn how to work across cultural diversified background, adapt communication and life leadership style to different cultures, language, empathy, respect for local practice makes you more relevant globally. My first time I went out of Cameroon to work, that was in Congo, I had this cultural shock because I met with people who were different, who had different behaviors from what we used to know. But then I could easily assimilate myself until when I moved to another part of Africa, still to work, and it was totally different from what and everything I used to know. Imagine living from, working in a place where even talking to a female colleague is more of a problem. Talk less of shaking hands. So you see that we will be meeting with people of different background, different culture. How do we adapt? We should be quick in adapting. We should be culturally intelligent to be able to mix up into this culture, to respect these people. So cultural awareness, respecting diversity and traditional and value matters when it comes to building skills which will help us at a global level. We equally have to develop skills which we can transfer. What are some of these skills? These skills are very important because most employers look into these skills. Critical thinking is one of them. Problem solving, communication, teamwork, and leadership. Remember, we are here to solve a problem. We are here to give a solution. It is very important. I used to have a country director who used to tell me, if you're coming to me with a problem, come with a proposed solution. It is very important. Each time you analyze, you see an issue, think of what can be the possible solutions to this. Remember, we are looking at what are the skills that we need to be able to stay relevant and adaptable at the development, at global development level. So this, which I've mentioned, are some of the skills that we have to build to stay relevant. Also, we all are out to work for an organization. We should be able to align with the organization mission, vision, and the goals of that organization. This is very important. And how can we do this? If we link our daily tasks to the bigger picture, which is that of the organization, we'll discover that at the end of the day, we'll be in line with what that organization wants. And management, they are not blind. They will definitely see how we think and how we are working towards the growth of that organization. This will make us very relevant at that level. So we've been able to pick out 11 key points on how to stay relevant at the global level. So what can we take in a nutshell? Building skills for global development and leadership requires three things. Remember, we spoke about this. We require technical expertise, cultural awareness, strong leadership ability. The technical expertise help us to translate all what we've learned theoretically into practice in order to be able to solve problems in real life for the organization in which we serve. We should be able to understand the business of that organization. Cultural awareness. Remember, we are at a global level, which means today we might find ourselves in Cameroon, tomorrow we are at Addis, the next day we find ourselves working in Kenya or somewhere in Kuala Lumpur. So we should be able to have this cultural intelligence and adapt to whatsoever culture we find ourselves. Strong leadership ability. This we've spoken at length on. So what do we take home from this? Here below are the key points. Adapting to changes is one of them. Communicating effectively and bridging the gap, it's important. Apply theory to real problems. Reasons why after you must have carried out all your studies, you should be able to translate that theory into practice. Building strong relationship and professional network. Deliver consistent value. Keep learning and scaling up. Seek practical experience from mentors, from senior colleagues, from those you aspire to become like. Stay adaptable and curious. Stay adaptable and curious. It's important. Build cross-cultural competence. And last but not the least, align to organizational goals. If we put all of these together, we work on it one at a time, we will be able to stay relevant at a global level. Below are some of the skills which we've spoken of, which is very important. We have like problem solving, communication, collaboration, curiosity, adaptability, empathy. All of these are part of the skills that we need to be able to stay relevant and adaptable at this level. Thank you.
Wow, this is amazing. This is quite amazing. Can we get a better hand up? Can, I'm not seeing everyone reacting to this. I need to get everyone's reaction. We have to stay relevant at the global scale. We have to stay relevant. And I picked up one thing, learning how to learn and unlearn. I mean, that was quite striking. Learning how to learn and unlearn. It's not enough to gather the knowledge. But when do you dispose of it to pick up new knowledge to replace it and remain relevant? So thank you once more. Thank you very much, Mr. Diongo. Thank you for these excellent words which you have given. We feel very happy. I think you can stop sharing your screen. You can stop sharing the slides now. I would want to believe that we had a couple of people who had questions. We would quickly just go through and see, do we have questions? I can see here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do,
Yeah.
actually. Thank you so much. Let me take a moment again to thank our keynote speaker, Mr. Diongo. You gave an amazing, amazing presentation. We have all learned so much from that. I believe the participants are not leaving here empty today because you've taught us a lot about building strong relationships and professional networks, delivering consistent value, seeking practical experiences, like doing voluntary roles, doing internships, having mentors, aligning our goals with those of the organization, and of course, staying curious. These are just a few amongst the many lessons that you've taught us today. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Now we have a few questions from you. And also we've had many participants agreeing to what you have said, agreeing to your points and being really grateful. We also have questions. Mr. Chair would like to know, how can someone strategically balance the need to study a global skill and the need to handle tight professional schedules?
Okay, can I take that one right away?
Sure, you can.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chef, for that question. I will really be very practical about what I do. What I do in that case is most of the time I delegate, because at any point in time, you will always have conflicting priorities. So what I do with those cases is I pick up those that are very important, I delegate the other ones to the younger staff, and I supervise them. This gives me time to be able to think well and do some other things. So what you can do is you delegate, you supervise, you train them first, and you delegate the tasks. You pick up those that you know they are the core. You concentrate on this. It gives you time to do other things. You might have time to study. Like now, I'm carrying out some studies on Power BI and AI. So I know the first hours in the morning, I do this, I check what I gave them to do, follow up. And that is very important. It gives you some time, because at every point of time, you always have competing priorities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. We also have New York City. Share with us your insights and the line with what you're also getting out there. I'm sure most participants would like to know. There is another question here from Mr. Chair still, who is asking, how can one manage an organizational culture, a change which is very strange to him or her? How can one manage an organizational culture change which is very strange to him or her?
Okay, Mr. Chair, that's a good one. You know, as I earlier said, when I got to a particular place in Africa, I was shocked to see that people that they have a culture which was totally different from what I used to do, from what I've ever seen. As I told you, to that part of Africa, it's a problem even greeting, extending a hand, you know, to us, the other side is normal. So what do? The first thing is you need to adapt. And that is why I still come on adaptability. You should be very fast in adapting, in learning and unlearning. In as much as the culture doesn't affect you personally, what I mean by affecting, it doesn't have a clash with you. You just have to adapt. Because in this setting, at the global level, there is no way you will not have these things happening. Today, you are in Turkey. Tomorrow, they push you in the other side of the world. You will definitely meet different cultural backgrounds. And that is why even during the job interview, in most cases, we always ask people, have you been able to walk out of your own zone, meet different people? And also during studies, I remember very well in FOMIC, we used to have group studies. This is important. At times, we don't see the importance of those things till when we meet them in real life, because you are forced to work with different people who have different orientation, different thinking. How do you adapt in that case helps you when you get out of that scenario and you see yourself at a global level. So it is very important to be ready to adapt and quick in adapting, because this helps you to remain relevant at the global level.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm very sure the participant picked out a response to his worry. We have another question here for you, and it's coming from Mr. Andrew Bikini Tiongo. And I would like to let you know that this question, I'm particularly interested in it myself. How do you stay relevant and effective when work, politics, and culture does not provide room for you to explore your full potential? It's a true worry.
That is very true. We have, in every organization, there is corporate politics.
Right.
And it's very important for you to understand what this corporate politics is all about and the way it goes about in every organization. Now, one of the things you should know is, in as much as there is politics, your skills makes you outstanding. When you blend this with the politics that exist in the organization, you understand the culture of that organization, how things are being done within that circle. It becomes easier for you to stay relevant at this level. There is no organization, I will repeat again, on earth where you will not see these things. There is none. In as much as 2 or 3 humans come together and you work with people, you will not work just with trees. So you will always have these things. So the first thing is build on yourself so much so that it becomes difficult for them to ignore you in case of anything. They see your importance, they see your relevance. Then you emerge yourself, you understand the way the politics is being done. Then corporate politics. When you put these two together with your skills and knowledge, with your ideas, especially if you are the kind of person who is solution-oriented, who gives solution to problems, it becomes easy for you to navigate yourself within this arena with little or no problem. Thank you. Hello, are you there, Mabude?
For me,
Hello,
I'm getting 5 on 5.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I think she's going to be joining us again soon.
Exactly. I have a
Thank you.
little challenge. Thank you so much. But message, if you stand out, and it's very important. I agree with that. Thank you so much. Please, I
I'm sure she's gone back. Her internet
have
is a
an
bit
issue with
shaky.
my, I can't see it coherently right now, but I'm going to take this question from longest rows, which is what I can see right now. She wants to know how you can overcome the higher competition for few job opportunities, because in most times, some companies and organizations do not give you the opportunity to exercise your skills. So she wants to know how you overcome the higher competition for few job opportunities.
Okay, as I did mention earlier, it is very important to belong to associations. It is very important. Now, one of the things when it comes to job, let me make this very clear. At times, we apply to 2, 3 jobs and we sit and we expect a miracle. You have to open your tentacles. You have to apply to so many jobs. This is very relevant for those who are still thinking of entering the job market. Let me start from there. Then I'll go to those who are already inside the job market. Now, if you apply just, let's say, for 10 different positions, there is a probability that you'll be shortlisted probably just for 2 or 3. This is 10. So what if you apply for 100? There is a high probability that you may be shortlisted for 20. And in that 20, your chances are higher for you to get something. I happened to talk to a fresh graduate from the university, and during our discussion, he told me he has been applying and nobody is calling him. I told him, you need to work on your CV. How many jobs have you applied for? He told me at times once. When he sees, he looks at it, and there are some things when he looks at it, he's discouraged. Then I told him, see, you have to you have to apply as many as possible. You cannot apply just for 6, 7 jobs and you expect that those 7 you will be called up. So first thing, especially for those who are still fresh, apply to so many as you can. We have different job links. We have just like LinkedIn. We have groups where you can see some of these job advertisements. Now, for those who are already in the job market, it is important to keep that liaison, that relationship with others within the job market. It is also important to stay in touch with relevant professionals. I come again to ask the second question. How many job sites does that person make use of? We have so many job sites. How many do you know, especially those that advertise international jobs? We have like Interpol, NGO Job for Africa, UN, so many of these. So it is very important for you to know where these things are and how to leverage on them. Hope that is okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That's definitely a brilliant response to the question. I am actually facing a little bit of challenge because I have been logging in and out of the meeting. So I've lost most of the chats and I'm trying to see how I can recover them. Okay.
That's okay. Take your time.
So the next question here, Moki, he wants to know that in your career, did you find a situation where experience beats an advanced degree? How do we offset this?
It happens. Experience is very important. Remember, your degree gives you all the knowledge you need. Experience helps you to do the work. But you need both to be able to navigate smoothly. I will explain why you need both. I happen to work in an organization where I met people who've been there for long. They were carrying out a particular practice. And when you ask them, why do you do that? They said, that is how we were told to do it. These are people who grew in the rank and file of the organization. But you who have both, who has the theoretical background, which you learn from school, you will tell why we should do this and not do this, and why this is being done this way. When you blend this with the practical part of it, you become formidable. You become awesome in the way you discharge your function. But when you have somebody who has just the practical, the experience, true, the person will be able to navigate. But at times, it becomes difficult for that person to explain why that is being done, especially if the person does understand the theory behind it. So it is always important to have the blend. And that is why you translate all what you learn in theory into practice. They are the same, to an extent, they are the same. You are just doing one on paper and the other one, you are doing it practically. I come back to the world of finance and accounting. We're told there is an important principle when it comes to accounting, the double entry principle. For every debit, there must be a corresponding credit. This is being taught from day one when you start accounting. It is being used till the day you will close your eyes in the world of finance and accounting. But if you meet somebody who started working, who did not go through the theoretical part, at times when you ask the person, why do you debit that asset? The person might not even tell you the reason. The next thing he or she is going to tell you that is what we're shown to do. But if you have the theoretical knowledge, you understand that an asset has a debit balance, and it increases on the debit side, reduces on the credit side. So when there is an increase in an asset, you ought to debit it. So it is always important to have both of this knowledge on your platter so as to be able to navigate, not only navigate very well in delivery, but able to explain what is happening behind the scene, why that is being done, how it is being done. Thank you. Over to you, Nadine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great. Let's take on the next question. Mr. Reverend Eric is adding something. He says that the facilitator encouraged us to ask questions, seek to understand why things are and why things are done the way they are done in the culture you find yourself. Thank you so much, Reverend, for your point. Now, someone else wants to know, how do employers assess skills gained from a master's compared to those gained through professional certifications or on-the-job training?
Okay. So basically, she wants to understand how employer do assessment, all of that.
Right.
Okay. It is important. One thing you should know is you should be able to sell yourself and make yourself very relevant. Remember, we just look at some skills which are very important for you to stay relevant. I bring a simple scenario. During the job interview, you are discussing, when I happen to do some interviews, especially when I used to act as the admin in Magna, at times you discover that when you even talk with a candidate, the person is, first of all, totally lost about everything out of his field of competence. Nothing he knows about the organization, nothing he knows. In short, he's just clay, as they used to say, he's focused on just in his field of competence. Organizations need people who can learn, unlearn, and relearn, people who can adapt. I once happened to carry out an interview, and I had this young man, we're asking some questions. He answered very well. The interview went, the practical part. And during the interview, there was one thing that strikes me about this young guy. There was a question we asked, and he said, "Sir, I don't understand this, but I can do a research and I come back on this if you give me some time." And I asked him, "How are you going to do this?" He told me he's going to see how he can use things like Google. He named some few of them to do a research on this. That struck me. Why? You must not know everything, but you should be able to know how and where you can get those things that you need. This brings the aspect of adaptability. You should be able to know how and where you can get those things. You mustn't know everything. You cannot know everything. So it is very important when you are going for an interview, you should be able to understand the organization, understand other things about the organization. Today, I'm a finance person working for Action Against Hunger. We are the DNA when it comes to nutrition. I didn't do nutrition in school, but today Diongo is talking to you about nutrition. I attended a seminar the last time, we were pushed down to Addis. The program manager was not there. We had to share and we presented. At the end, when I told them I'm a finance person, everybody was like, "How come you are presenting program?" You must not know everything, but you should be able to adapt. We learn, we unlearn and relearn. It is very important when it comes in job market for us to stay relevant. Thank you very much. Over to you,
Thank
Nadine.
you so much. That was an amazing one. Because of course, in the job market, you should be able to do everything. You don't know when you're going to need the skills for some things you did not actually study in school. Now, we have one of the participants saying that this link was actually shared in a departmental group, and he's not social, he's not sociable, and barely came across programs like this, but he's grateful to be here. Thank you so much. Now, Jay Moki is asking that in your career, did you find a situation where experience beats an advanced degree? How do you offset this? I'm sure I've taken this. Okay.
As I rightly said, it is very possible. We have people who are very experienced. I've come across them who do not have an advanced degree, but they have worked for so long and they have a good experience. So in that case, you coming in with an advanced degree, you cannot measure up with him at the time. But here's the take. Here's the take. Once you come in you have theoretical knowledge, which you are bringing in. Let me take somebody fresh from school. Here is the take. It is easy for you now with this knowledge to easily climb the ladder. What do I mean by that? You understand the principles. And if you blend yourself with this person, remember during the presentation, we spoke about having mentors. We spoke about having senior colleagues who have experience in some of these things. If you mirror yourself to these people, you work in close collaboration with them, it is possible for you to pick up very fast and excellently. So there is this aspect of blending with these individuals who already have. It is very possible. You will not leave school yesterday and you meet somebody, probably the person does not have a, let me take a simple example. Somebody has never had a master's degree. He's been working for 20 years and you are living with a master's degree. You've never worked and you think you will be more experienced than that person, or you know. But with your theoretical knowledge that you have, it gives you an edge because you will be able to learn very fast, especially if you study from this person. There was a period of time I had this very situation way back, but this is what happened. I didn't understand the system at the time. It was an accounting software that we were using. But I met colleagues who have been using this software for 5, 6 years. True, softwares are like vehicles. If you can drive one, in less than no time, you adapt to the other. But with my hands-on knowledge that I had, when they brought a problem, I could tell that this is going because of this is going because of this. And today, I'm so versed with this software in less than no time. Why? Because I could blend the theoretical knowledge that I have on other software and the practice into this new one. So it is very possible for you to see scenarios or cases where experience beats that advanced degree. But on the other side, if you blend the two, if you happen to learn from that person, you will be awesome. You will be fantastic in less than no time. Thank you. Over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Romanus. This has been super enriching. Dear participants, unfortunately, we cannot take all the questions that have come in because we have to jump right to the next agenda for the day. Thank you so much. Our keynote speaker has done an amazing one, teaching us what we need, the skills we need to have as master's degree holders to be qualified for the job market. It's been really, really enriching. We appreciate this session. Thank you so much, Mr. Romanus.
Thank you.
Now I'll call on our moderator to take it from here with speakers for the evening. It's time to have the panel discussion. Mr. Mbinga, are you there? Hello, Mr. Mbinka, can you hear me?
Moderated the first part of it in a very great way. Thank you so much, Mr. Diongo. I took out my pen and paper and I was jotting, and I mean, it's really exciting to see the path you have covered and to be able to come back to the institution that inspired most of this journey, to inspire the next generations of people who are moving on this same path. So it's really an amazing situation. And thank you once more, Mr. Diongo. Thank you very much, Ms. Nadine, for these beautiful presentations and also coordination you've done so far. So if you thought you heard it all, just hold on. We still have three amazing people who are hitting it even harder in different areas. We have Miss, we have Mildred Table, we have Mr. Bamai Namata, and we also have Miss Eposi Frida. Can you put on your microphones and let's just give you a shout out before you can even start talking? Put on your cameras. We want to see you. Let's give a big hand of applause for them, a digital hand of applause for them as you're seeing them showing up. These are great professionals. They have walked the talk. I know most of them personally, and when I was invited to moderate this panel, I was like, oh my God. I mean, I looked at their profiles and I was like, this is just amazing, you know? And just as I think about the amazing work they have done, believe me or not, I think that when I heard this webinar was 1 hour, I'm like, how do you give 1 hour for such a powerhouse? I think many of us would want to stick in and listen to what they have to say. I think we had already a presentation of them, but no one does justice to a presentation like the person themselves. So I'm going to give a few minutes, first of all, to each and every one of them to present themselves again. And this time around, they will be able to tell you more about their journey. So just a quick presentation. We're going to give ladies first and then gentlemen. Just a quick presentation. Just tell us again, how did your journey all begin to being where you are now? Don't make it too long because we have so many questions for you. And just give us just a quick highlight. How did it all happen? From your master's study, from getting up all the knowledge to being this impactful person in the field. Just walk us through the quick transition. How did it all happen? Start by presenting yourselves. I'll call on first of all on Mildred's table. Please put on your microphone, your video, and you have the floor. Please present yourself again. I strongly believe we didn't do justice to that presentation. And then tell us what happened between when you finished studies and here now you are impacting the world. Just walk us through that brief journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Binka. Good evening to all the participants, for those that are in Cameroon here with me. As you all know, my name is Mildred Table. I'm currently in Bamenda. I'm working with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees here in Bamenda and serving as a field associate. That's a technical term. I'm going to really explain in details what I do. So to start the journey, after my master's degree, my first master's in international law, I started doing legal research. And from there, I picked up a job, first of all, a volunteer with the National Commissions on Human Rights and Freedoms. I worked there for some time. And I moved to Boya for my second master's. That's when I attended Rome Business School, now Unique Business School. So while at Unique Business School, I really learned, I can say that is where my learning started. You know, after advanced level, you learn everything, but that's where my mastering, or that's where I had to discover myself. First of all, I really want to thank the founder, Madame Elmine, because she really brought out the best from me. I knew there was something like a laptop, but I never knew how to own a laptop. When I started studies, from me owning a laptop, it exposed me to the world. From having a laptop, I learned to own the laptop. From there, I started doing research. Our classes were mostly using the laptop. From my laptop, I started with PowerPoint presentation. I got versed with Word documents, doing my assignments from Word documents, and then transferring to PowerPoint presentations. And from there, I was exposed now to the world. The laptop was my new world. From there,
Ms. Table, without cutting you, are you able to put on your camera, or is it a technical issue on your side?
It's not a technical issue. I just decided to off the camera.
Oh, thank you for putting it on. We even like the smile. Adding the smile to that story even makes it more beautiful.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Binka. So from there, through the internet, I had to come across yearly Young African Leaders Initiative. I applied and I was selected, I was trained, and that continued to bring out the best in me. And after my master's degree at Rome Business School, I continued to apply online, where I picked up my first international job at Intersource. I was the head of Intersource for Northwest Southwest. I did not act as human resource. manager as I was trained at RBS, but I acted as a protection officer. But I want to say most of my experiences, the knowledge, the skills of all that has helped me throughout was what I acquired from Rome Business School. Because one, I was I had good soft skills from Word documents to Excel to PowerPoint presentation to publishers. So I could really work. I was versed with my soft skills. And then my human resource management degree helped me to manage the team I was working with. I had a team of about 60 persons in the Southwest and about 30 persons in Boya. So the knowledge, the human resource knowledge really helped me to manage the team. From then, I moved to Danish Refugee Council, where I served as a protection officer for a year. And then I'm now presently in Bamenda as field assistant for UNHCR Bamenda. And in a nutshell, what we do is that we assist vulnerable persons. In this context, we have the IDPs, and we assist them with non-food items. I think those that understand the technical language will understand what I'm saying. And so we continue to influence the world. But I want to say me discovering myself, it all started from Rome Business School, because if I was not versed with the computer, I was not versed with MS package, I couldn't have even known how to look for a job, because I'll tell you with certainty, we now look for jobs online. We no longer go to human beings. We no longer go to friends to help us have a job. Yes, as our main speaker said, it's good to have this human relationship, but it starts from somewhere. We all have a part to play. If I don't apply for a job, I will not be calling Mr. Romanos. And Mr. Romanos, you're in Congo. Please, I'm applying for action against someone. Can you look into my CV? If I don't apply, he's not going to look in. So it starts from me. And then the help will come from everybody. And I think that's the main reason why we all are seated here, because we all need one another. Thank you very much. And over.
Thank you so much. That's an amazing introduction. You see, I did say that we didn't do justice when we introduced you. And let me bring in another power lady up, Miss Frida. She's all over the whole world. I mean, we're meeting in a lots of places. She's doing a lot of impact. She's one of those people that are making Cameroon really proud of who the Cameroonian ladies are in terms of tech and all of that. Miss Frida, can you do us justice and reintroduce yourself and tell us what happened? You finished your master's degree, and then here we see you breaking into clouds all over the world. What happened in between? Just a quick overview of it before we can really get to the real questions on understanding how did what you study have an impact on what you're doing right now? Just a quick introduction, and we'll be happy if you can do it on with your camera. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Binka, and the team for inviting me. I'm very honored. My camera is on. Please just confirm if you can see me.
We can see you, and we are happy to see you.
Right. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am first of all, I'm very excited because Mr. Romanus used to be my senior in school. I'm not sure if he remembers, but yeah, I when I saw his name, I was like, okay, I've not seen this guy for a long time. So, and I now know where you are, and it's a pleasure to connect with you on this platform. And just to say that it goes as far to see what FANIC can do, because I really learned from the presentation. Before I go ahead of myself, my name is Frida D. Eposi, and for me, what really sparked my journey, I'd like to think that I've always been a very curious young woman. And curiosity, I always like to claim, brought me this far. And even up to my journey or my time at FANIC, it's all about curiosity. I remember reaching out to Madame Elmine, and I was like, I wanted to do this course, and I asked so many questions. I'm sure she can, if she can remember. And From there, before that, I had wanted to do my own thing. So I left university and I did banking and finance, but I was not the very conventional Cameroonian who wanted to work in the bank and do that and do that. I felt like it was easier if I could start my own business, which I did. And I was fortunate at the very beginning of my journey to find a mentor who handheld me that time to just, navigate around and would, show me tough love sometimes just to make me think. And fast forward, and I started a business. I had started two businesses before Fanik, but I can tell you for a fact that when I finished at Fanik, being an entrepreneur, it was more, I came into Fanik with an agenda, right? So it made it easier for me to chase a particular path. And my journey after Fanik became a bit more easier because one thing Fanik will do to you is they will take you through unconventional paths, and you will not sit in class to write notes. You would be forced to make your own notes. Madame Elmin will come to class and you would have a nice chat, but when it's time for you to write or to submit that project, you would think, oh, there was no notes for this. Meantime, that chat was all the notes you needed. And it forced me to critical thinking and to be able to think strategically. But it also helped me to be more driven as to pursue self-learning in a way, being guided by the principles of the institution. So I think, fast forward to that, from that, ushered me into being a bit more proactive as an entrepreneur, changing my views more, not seeing leadership as a title, but more of an opportunity to, present a bigger vision to the group of young people that I was working with as a team. And it, paints a clearer picture as to what do we want to do or what do I want to do in this organization leading. And, I'd say it sharpened my skills a bit more. And I moved from being a young woman who was curious to becoming someone who's more intentional about entrepreneurship, the problems that we were solving. I think that's also some of the skills that I picked up at my time in Fanik. I did an MBA in marketing, but I can tell you for a fact that I learned more than marketing in Fanik. And I think in our discussion going forward, you would even get to find out that my work currently is not in marketing, but everything I learned in Fanik has enhanced the way that I do my work up until this day. From being an entrepreneur to working in a high-level professional space like the AU, I think most of the roots of the skills and just the organizational behavior are things that I picked up just from I'd like to say, the tough love that I got from Fanik. I'd like to leave it at that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very inspiring journey. Thank you. We will still be coming back to you. Just keep everything intact as we are coming. Let's listen to the gentleman among the ladies. This is also someone I admire how much entrepreneurial spirit he kicked off with, the kind of innovations he brought into the entrepreneurial space, and then now he is in the bigger picture impacting at an international level. I would want to invite once more our gentleman in the house, Bamai Namata, and to just quickly reintroduce himself again and tell us what is he looking at right now? Why are we getting this new focus on the MBAs and on the master's programs and on the new style of learning? Let us just get him introduce himself once more, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Frida.
Thank you very much, Binka. It's great to see you and to talk to different members of the panel. For my journey specifically, like Nadine mentioned, I started from the University of Boya, where I studied communications before moving into to study with FUNIC, where I studied project management. Even though, like you said, my main background, I started in the field of entrepreneurship. I started businesses. I started a lot of new projects, try and work in technology and media. But I've been able to take those skills of innovation and communication and the power of media into where I am now. My professional journey has been quite a long one. I've worked with most of the international organizations around, from the UN agencies to bilateral agencies like the FCDO of the UK, the EU, International Rescue Committee, and currently now with WWF, which is the International Office of WWF, which is the World Wildlife Fund, which supports environmental sustainability across the world. But specifically, my work currently focuses on the Congo Basin, which is Central Africa, and I still take my spirit of innovation, the project management expertise that I learned at FUNIC to do the work that I do, which is basically designing programs, doing business development, and raising funds for this large global organization, raising a lot of money, working on new projects to make sure that this can flow, and also working with many of the international organizations around, making sure that we have the partners that we ways. I think the field of project management is a really interesting one, and FUNIC really helped with that initial project management education, even though I've gone on to still study development project management with other institutions like University Sengoda Alexandria. It's still very much, FUNIC is still very much a very fond institution that I've appreciated learning from. And I think when they reached out to me to be able to do this, I was quite happy, even though I'm in the middle of so many things, but I understand how important it is to speak to the next generation of potentially project managers, potentially people that work in development. And I'm very happy to have this conversation, Binka, and happy to answer more of your questions so that, other people can learn from the journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. When I kept listening to everyone kept saying there was something special about my FUNIC education. There was something different about the approach. And then I was like, I know there was something different, but what is this something different that everyone is talking about? And how did that particularly impact you in the way you are working now? Now, is that something different, something that you can also relate to? And how is that impacting the way you're working now?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people assume that the education is going to be easy. But when as a professional, someone that had been working for many years, when I started the program, I also assumed it was going to be easy. But as I came in, I realized, the approach that is being used here is not a degree granting approach. Basically, it's more of an approach of you learning skills and making sure that you're properly positioned for the job market. And that, I think, it really resonated with me because it's important. At the end of the day, there are a lot of people that can issue degrees, but you want the skills. You want to be able to work, and like the first presenter talked about, to really make sure that your results speak for you. Because at the end of the day, even in very complex organizations like the ones we work in, where there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of bureaucracy sometimes, at the end of the day, it's yourself and your results. You need to be results driven. You need to make sure that people see what you're doing. That is the only thing that protects you, that guards the work that you're doing. You cannot be fired if you're delivering results. People can't just make up stuff if you focus on the work that you're doing. And I think that's the rigor that that education brings. It makes you work. It makes you really get your hands dirty to do the work as you're supposed to. Yeah. So, and I think that's really what's special. Yeah.
That's awesome. You cannot be fired if you're delivering results. Yeah, because they want to fire you and they're like, okay, we fire this guy who's gonna do the job, who's gonna give us these results that we are seeing. So sometimes your output has to do the negotiation for you. I think that's a powerful one we're learning. Please, I invite the other panelists to please keep their cameras on, and you can also keep your microphones on because it's really just gonna be a flow across. And I want to know from you specifically, Frida, tell me. Now you're looking at the international field. You're looking at what's happening with the non-governmental organizations and all of that. Does university education prepare us for that? Now, would you tell me that when you got into the sphere where you are now, working with these organizations, cutting across the board, what did you take across from your studies that you found it very useful, applying it in what you're doing currently? What came in handy thanks to the way you got your studies, thanks to the way you were trained? What came in handy on the job? But I'm also interested to know what never came in. What were you hoping you could find and you didn't see? Because that way, people also get to know, I think I need to prepare this toolbox because I'm definitely going to see this ahead again. And I'm going to invite all the other panelists to just be able to interact on this. What is it that came in handy? Like you were on the job and then a task came up, a project came up, and you smiled and you said, oh, I remember I got skills on how to do this thing. So I got trained on how to do this thing. And every other person is looking at you do it and you're like, oh, no, don't worry. We can be able to lead in this. What came in handy during your work now? What was very relevant in your work now that you were able to pull and bring in from your studies? Tell
Thank
me,
you so
Frida.
much.
And feel free, Mildred, to also just jump in to tell us about you, what was really, and I mean, I really want to hear those interesting moments when everybody was like, how are we going to do this? And then you came in like the superhero and you just pushed it out from you made the one magic one and things started happening. We would really want to know that. And also feel free to talk about those areas where you saw a dim light and you were wondering, why did my education not provide this so that I could use it at this moment? Yes, Frida.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Bink. I think I had previously just highlighted that a bit. One of the key things that I learned, in my time in FANIC was being pushed to think very strategically and become more like a critical thinker. And I think that has been very handy in my work, not just as an entrepreneur, but also as a professional. And the structure of or the approach of phonics teaching is different. I did say that it's not conventional. So the project-based approach already gives you a sneak peek into what global work will look like or what actual work will look like. So you're learning from a lens of work already. And that is all the practice, all the internship, or all the projects you need to jumpstart your career as a young professional, but also as a young person who is ambitious to want to get to a global space. So for me, that was those were the two things. I mean, there's a lot, but critical thinking is what I do every day in my job, not just as an entrepreneur, but as a professional. It highlights both roles or caps that I wear. But one thing that I would say that I wasn't preview for or I wasn't ready for is the political and emotional intelligence that comes with working in a high level space, like the AU, for example. And I mean, it's just AU, but there are other, high level spaces that would kick you off in your mind. And it happened to me. First, I got in and I felt like, oh, as an entrepreneur, everything will work the way I know it works. And being in a high level setting where you're dealing with multinationals, you're dealing with different stakeholders, and there are different levels and procedures and policies guiding different things, sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, but also it was I wasn't ready for it. So I had to learn on the job. So yeah, but those are two things that I didn't see coming. I guess I assumed every organization or setting, we just need to navigate them in different skills. But I think for every skill or every kind of organization, there are different levels to how you need to deal with the politics, you need to deal with people, we need to deal with cultural shifts, you need to deal with just procedures and processes that govern these different spaces. But yeah, I am still very excited about what the future looks like. But also one thing that I learned is resilience. In Fanic, you're pretty much just thrown into the thing. You come in. I remember there was a time when we just started, the learning approach or the teaching approach was a bit strange to us. And those of us who were grouped in one team, we were complaining, venting amongst each other and saying that no, normally they should teach us and we should take notes and what. But I guess now that I'm in the workspace, I understand what that has done to me in my mind, and I'm very excited to what
Awesome.
the future looks like.
Awesome. Now I get the clarity on the whole issue of it was not the normal kind of education. What was your eureka moment? That one time when you're like, oh yeah, I got this knowledge, I got this training, I got prepared for this very moment. And what was that moment that for you was like, oh my God, where are the skills? Where are the tools to handle this situation?
Is that for me?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are different.
No, I pushed it to Namata.
Okay, right. Okay, because it was a break there, fine. Right, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Minka. And it looks like our keynote speaker was going to add something to that. So
Oh yes, I see his
are you
hand
going to
was
add
up.
something? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Let him pour it in before you can jump in. Yes, Mr. Diongo.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Frida was saying something so pertinent. uh, maybe I should bring this in before we continue. One of the things I picked from Nick was this: the ability to research, to get the problem by yourself, helped me today to stand on my feet. Because out here, you don't expect them to give you everything on a platter of gold. You are here to solve issues. And this issue keep on falling on your head every passing day. So you should be in Phonic during that period. We did a lot of research. Same as you were carried, you were overwhelmed by what happened. It's a very thing. I think if I'm not mistaken, we were the second batch. Mr. Binka seated here was my supervisor for the thesis. It wasn't easy. At a point in time, I thought of folding everything and leaving. I was working and going to school. But then it gave me a proper understanding of the real world, because most of the time, most of the lecturers who came, who were teaching, they were working and teaching. So they gave us practical example. I can remember so many times Mr. Binka brought things from EcoBank. We had so many of them. Madame Emile also brought practical examples. So already, when I was going at the international level, I was already prepared. And if you notice something among all of those who have gone through this phonic, there is one thing in particular. They are all outspoken. They talk, they communicate. What brings this? You have to present. Because each time you bring this, you must present. You have come across colleagues who are smart, but they cannot express themselves. They cannot bring out this skill? How do you market yourself? In the world of humanitarian, visibility speaks a lot. You may be doing so much, but if you are not visible, nobody will see you. You become invisible. So it is important. It is a system which is different from the orthodox, normal system that we do. But it's a system that prepares you to pick up hand-on practical experience to jump down the train running. Because you will never see a train stop when it comes to the world which we are finding ourselves. So the system prepares you already to hit the ground running. So it is very important. In the beginning, it's overwhelming. You are living from one system to the other. You are living from a system where they come, they give you notes, they give you handouts, you read, they give you exams, you write. Now here, no, that's not the case. They come, they introduce a topic, and you research on that topic. Then they bring a real life scenario for you to solve that problem. The beginning was not easy, but believe me, the roots were bitter, but today the trees has given birth to very nice fruit, and the fruits are very sweet. I'm enjoying them. I won't lie to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Diongo, for that eloquent rappel of how the past was and how it's impacting you today. Now back to you, Mr. Namata.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Binka. I think I was actually doing this training with FUNIC while I was program manager with the British Embassy here in Yaoundé about 5 years back. And I think the eureka moment for me was really when, as part of my job, I had to manage the COVID, our COVID program. And, you know, all of that project management knowledge really came in handy at that time, where I had to manage a large pot of money and to distribute this to local organizations and you know, make sure that they get the grants that they needed. And I really saw myself making use on a day-to-day of, you know, that project management knowledge. How do you manage the stakeholders, the scope, the budgets that are available to you? How do you make sure you bring people together adequately? And yeah, we had a very short time to spend a lot of money. And as the leader of that project, there really was, I was really able to make it successful. And of course, something that really made our organization proud, and yeah, made my bosses to also say, yeah, this is a good work. And yeah, actually received a small certificate commending me for that work. But that was really the moment when, you know, after going through this project management training, I was able to see the fruits. I was able to see that, yeah, this makes sense. This is something that I want to do, continue doing. So from there, I was able to continue doing that with many other organizations. I think that was really one of those eureka moments for me. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. Mildred, let me ask you this. When you were introducing yourself, you said FUNIC was that turning point in your education. I mean, you learned how to put on a computer. I mean, that's a lot of steps to where you are now. It means you moved kilometers and kilometers in a very short time. Tell me, how did international exposure, when you started getting exposure to these international roles, how did it change you? What happened to you? What was new? And look, there are certain people here who wish that they could have that as a career. And how do you prepare them for that moment? What should they do now that if you were to rewind back 20 years, you should have started doing and not doing it right now? How did it change you? And how can you advise someone who is 18 years, who is 19 years, who's 20 years, and who's taking that direction in career? What are those problems that you wish you were told how you could have solved it earlier, or you wish the younger you knew about this? And how can that change the way people are looking at some of these roles?
Thank you so much, Mr. Binka. In fact, what you've asked me is really vast, but I'll just concise to what I can say. Now, to begin with, each and every one of us, we are very, very unique. I have a master's in international law and a master's in human resource management. and the other colleagues maybe have masters in some other thing. So how do you stand? How do you make a difference? How do you make yourself, let me use the words of Mr. Romanos, how do you stay relevant? Because yesterday I was relevant. How do I stay relevant today and continue to be relevant tomorrow? How do I stay relevant in a way that in fact, organizations will keep looking for me? I put my shoes in a young graduate. Now, I just left, I have a master's in let me say marketing, and I'm looking for a job. I think this question came before. And you have Mr. Romanos that maybe has worked for 10 years. How do I make myself relevant, or how do I compete with him? It's really challenging, but I can say it is very possible to make yourself relevant and stay relevant. Now, the international career or the world now in general is looking for experienced people, people that are result oriented. Now, people that have soft skills, people that can speak more than one languages, people that can master small courses and add to their master's degree. Because I have a degree, I have a master's degree in human resource management and international law. But what I'm practically doing right now, I'm doing distribution of non-food items, and is practically building and construction. So I can say I'm an engineer. How do I keep selling myself as an engineer in my field? I will just say it's just continuous learning. You're applying for a job today, you have a master's in marketing, and you're applying for a job today, and when you go, you see the job description is challenging because you don't have this experience, and you see other things that will help you that the recruiter wants. And now we need for you to say, for you to even be shortlisted, you need to paint the picture that yes, you can do it. And if you have painted a picture, you can do it. How do you prove if you're being called for an oral, for a written test, an oral interview? You must stay abreast with current information. You must study. You go to your job description, you study each and everything. You make each job description a study topic, because you need to make sure that you're out to sell yourself. You're not only out to sell yourself, you're out to sell yourself the best way. It means you want to be the best person for that job. Yes, the jobs today are limited, because really the job market can't recruit everyone. It's limited. But how do you make sure that if they're looking for a person and 1,000 people apply, how do you make sure that you have that job? You have these certificates, you don't have the experiences. How do you compete? How do you face high competition with those that have the experiences? I will encourage everyone that you just need to keep studying. You need to keep studying. You need to keep adding what you know. You need to keep making sure that you're learning every day, and you're unlearning and you're learning. Because today you have these young persons, we have internet. It's easy now for us to have internet, something that we do not have in my time. It's easy to have internet. Everybody has a smartphone. You go, you have your smartphone, you have your internet. What do you do this time? You have to make sure that each passing moment you're doing something useful for yourself that is going to help you to stand a competition. Like everyone that is here is good enough, because you will not only listen to well-experienced person, you're going to maybe have an opportunity to talk with them one-on-one. They can coach you, they can build you up, they can help you to have a smart CV, and they can help you they can coach you that, okay, this is where you are and this is where you want to be. These are the gaps you have. So you have to study, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to, in order to bridge the gap, so that you can stand a better candidate, you can stand a better chance of becoming a better you and having what you want.
And would you say your master's was a must-have in what you're doing now? Do you feel that having a master's was one of the key tools that permitted you to really navigate well in this area?
To a very high degree, I would say 60% yes, because you cannot completely take away theory from practical. The theory introduces you to the practical world. Because even you working in the bank, you acknowledge the fact with me that your master or your degree only help you to be recruited, but what actually you're doing is coming from your head. It's coming from the skills you've acquired, how to learn and unlearn, how to adapt to changes, how to make concise, precise, good decisions, how to bring solutions to problems. Yes. So my master's was very good because it has helped me to have the basics for recruitment. But achieving what I'm achieving now, it has taken dedication, hard work, and accepting a lot of things, you know. Now, when you get down to the organization, realize that the organization is, when you're in school, you think everything should just be easy, should just be practical. But when you get now to the office, you realize that you're getting into a new political world where you have organizational cultures and behavior, and you need to adapt. You need to adapt in order to stay relevant. You need to adapt in order to be productive. You need to adapt in order to flow and in order to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I remember a friend of mine, we were having a conversation and she said, oh, I started with my studies and Dr. Elmine is asking us to cram, this is the word she's used, to cram this book. I said, which book? She said, I think it was the 4 Business Intelligences or something like that. And I'm like, did she ask you to cram it? She said, no, we absolutely need to know this book and we absolutely need to use this book. And then I got intrigued. 4 Business Intelligences. What was this book all about? And so I went to Amazon, I checked out the book, and then I bought the book, and I read the whole book. And then I came back and I was like, oh my God. And I was looking at the amount of information that was in this book and how it could shape the way an individual is doing the business. And so, do you really think that a young Cameroonian what should they do to get ready for these global careers? Now you're there. You've seen what's happening. You've seen what it takes to survive in that space. This is the young Cameroonian. What should they do right now to survive in that space? Think of you as the mentor now, and these people are coming behind you. What can they do to survive in that space? Maybe Frida, you can start, and then Namata, I would want to hear from you. What are those tough things they need to start doing right now to survive in this space?
Okay, I think for me, the first thing that comes to mind is the word young is it's a myth. So once you can take your mind out of I'm too young, it's the beginning, it's a jumpstart into whatever impact you want to create. As a young person, I think what you need to start doing now is do not wait to be ready. Start with what you have or start with what you can do. You see the projects that you're doing in class, talk about it. You see the group assignments, the class assignments, the projects or whatever you're working on. It's a jumpstart into what the global space is expecting. Because once you sit back and relax to say, oh, okay, I'm waiting for the teacher to give me everything that I need to be able to, be relevant. It takes away that proactivity. It takes away that ability to learn by yourself. Because there's no time I went to research or to verify about a topic, a notion, or something that was said in class that I did not understand, that I didn't find something else that was relevant to me. So one thing I'll tell you is, first thing is to start where you are. Start with what you have. Don't think you're too young to give back. You're not too young to give back. And from there, be curious. I always say that. Ask the relevant questions. Ask the dumbest questions. The ones you think that nobody will answer, or it would be like, oh, how can you ask? That would be your key into the next level, because sometimes the things you think are the dumbest questions are all the information you need for your next level. And I also just want to encourage that we don't think that we are too young. I think one of the things that I have learned just being in this space is I'm not too young for change. And I don't think you are too young for change. Once you can activate that mindset, then you are able to run on anything that you're working on. For me, I think
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Namata, what are your thoughts? what should we start thinking now? What should we start doing now? What should we start changing now? So that when we reach that space where you are now, we're just going to be triple what you are able to do now. What should we start now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And from my end, I think I agree very much with Frida. I think you have to start something. You have to start from somewhere. I know most of the audience may potentially be students, but even as a student, I think you can start from somewhere. If you look at my profile, you see I started from somewhere. I started with very small local NGOs who did many things in the field that I currently am in. I volunteered. I gave my time on different projects. I gave my skills as a communicator. I gave my skills as fundraisers. I wrote new projects. So I started doing something which I could put on my CV so that by the time I came out of school, I had something on my CV that I've done this, I've built skill. And then secondly, I think it's very important to get aligned because if you're looking towards something, then you have to plan. You have to plan towards that. You have to get the skills that are needed. If you want to get into finance, like a keynote speaker, then of course you have to get the finance skills. You have to get the certifications for finance. You have to do a ACCA. You have to do an MBA in finance. You have to get aligned to what you're looking to do. And I think another very important part of what you can do right now is basically to make friends with those who are already doing what you're hoping to do in the future. It's not like make friends as in you're going to go out every day drinking with them, but it's really to follow their work, look at what they're doing, look at what they're sharing on social media. Every day you get to learn. This is how things are done here. This is the language. Sometimes even the language that you speak, the way you present something is totally different. So the more you follow those people, the more you're friends with them, you're able to really speak the language, and potentially just if you're connected to someone, you can send a LinkedIn message and say, hey, I'm this person, this is what I do, this is what I'm hoping to do. What can I have your advice on something? You do enough of that, and trust me, something may come out of that. And that really ties into my point, or my last point, of being visible. Because even as a student, even as a young professional, you have to be visible in what you do. Mr. Mika knows me, but we've not had a lot of physical exchange or contact, but I have been visible with the work that I do, sharing the different things that I do in Cameroon, across different landscapes. So you have to become visible with the work that you do. And long term, of course, if you start doing something, you're well aligned, you get the skills and the certifications you need. You make friends, and then you make yourself visible. You would see that you'll be able to really get where you want to go the shortest amount of time.
Mm-hmm. That's and when we are getting into this global space, the question I always would want to ask is, what's the difference? What differentiates some of these global spaces from our spaces we have here in Cameroon? What difference do you observe? And why are we asking this? Because we heard our keynote talked about this culture change. He talked about how do we get cultural awareness, cultural relevance. And I think that is something that we need to be able to discuss here. Did you get a culture shock on the way? And what changed? Maybe we will start from you once more again, my dear Mildred. Let's talk about culture because it was something very interesting. I move around a little bit, and that is one of the things that really shock you as you move around because you think you know it all, and then you move into a space. Our keynote did said it. He said it right. You're working with a colleague, and then you cannot greet them, and then you cannot give them a handshake, or you cannot. Those are things that to you were like normal. How does this concept of cultural awareness, do you want to share your personal experience on this cultural awareness thing? What should we really do now to change how we see it and to improve the way we can manage it when we get to that space What is it about this cultural awareness thing? Did it happen to you? Did you get that cultural shock where you were thinking things are like this and then everyone is just doing it this way? And what do you advise us on that particular scenario right now?
Thank you so much, Mr. Winker. Looking at myself, yes, of course, I've gotten into cultural differences, like what I don't believe in, but I'm forced to believe in because of work, because of a professional life that I'm into. Yeah, it's true that I can't really say we have to adapt, or I can't really. In fact, when we just have to know the world is changing. And for some of us that are still in Cameroon, or we have worked within the context of what we know. Like for those in the Northwest, Southwest, we have worked within a context of an environment that we understand already. The culture is easier. It's easier, but adaptability remains the key here. We just have to keep adapting, especially if you have to work with all other kinds of persons, other kind of people, other cultures, other backgrounds. You have the whites, the Indian, the Asians, the Muslims, and so on. We just have to learn to adapt because at the end, we don't know everything. We are still to learn. And if you're working in any workplace, you realize that they have their rules and regulations binding them, and they have some other regulations that be binding. Now they talk about diversity, they talk about cultural diversity, and so and so and so. There are so many principles, there are so many other things that binding. I'll just advise that we have to be culturally welcoming. We have to welcome others' culture. And because it is not done our way, it doesn't make it right or doesn't make it wrong. We just have to accept it.
Totally agree.
It's funny because I'm going to please a minute.
I think while you're taking a minute, we can just hear quickly from you, Frida, culture awareness, culture shocks. You move around a lot. I know that. Tell me, we are rounding up already now. Let's hear about culture shocks and your last words. Tell me, what were some of those culture shocks you had?
Okay, no, so I mean, you talk about cultural shock, and I'm smiling because they're different things. And I think one thing that we must always have at the back of our mind, Romanus mentioned it, I think you have also highlighted a bit on it, is let us be open to unlearning and relearning. And if you can open your mind to that on learning and relearning, then you would find the cultural shocks would be a bit easy for you to adapt to. And for me, there were different things. And a typical instance would be my time in the US. And when I was in the US, the first time I ever visited the US, it's the ability for the people to have an open mind, right? And that was even before the whole for me to understand. I mean, I had been traveling before then, but I think the US really shifted my perspective around different things, about around being adaptable, being flexible, being open-minded to other people's cultures, other people's thinking. And it's just a bit preview to even us back home. I don't think there's much of a difference. It's just we are very comfortable with what we know. So when we move into other people's territories, we find that a bit shocking that they do things differently. And a typical thing is staring, right? In Cameroon, we don't mind staring. We can look at you and you would look back, and we can even communicate with our eyes sometimes. Another thing is hooting or just horning. It's when you're driving, people even greet with just horning in your car, beep beep, and you're greeting your friend. But moving to the US, one thing, staring is problematic. You can't just stare at somebody. I can remember going to a bank and there's this lady at the cash desk. She's counting her money at the side. I'm staring at her, waiting for her to move. And she goes into panic mode. I don't know what was going on in her mind, but I think she was afraid that I'm looking or there was something happening in my mind. And then also the ability, being open up to the ideas that the color of our skin sometimes can mean different things. So you can be in a situation not because you are that person, but because you fall in a category of people. So if you're able to comport yourself or be able to understand and not try to always get things out of the roof. Sometimes I think it's just the emotional intelligence that must kick in to say, okay, this person is acting like this out of ignorance. What must I do? And stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a whole list, but
Totally agreed.
I
Totally
mean,
agreed.
the underlining thing is be open to adapt. I don't think there's any way we can say it other than be able to adapt. And if this were my last opportunity as a wrap up, I just had like a small tiny message for I mean, we all are young people, but for the audience, and it's just to say that education is it's not always a trophy. It's a tool, right? And while you go about getting your master's, you should also be intentional about it. Why are you getting a master's in the first place? And I think Phonic has created a, a nice springboard that if you're not even sure on what you want to study, you can always speak to the administrators and they would guide you. Do not get a master's because everyone in your class has moved from getting a first degree to master's. Do not get a master's because you just want to have a master's degree. Get a master's for um, for strategic reasons. Use it as a tool to navigate your different paths. You could get a master's because you want to build on a certain skill, or maybe you want to be able to be ushered into a particular network, or just pursue a purpose or solve a problem that you have identified within your community. So I want to encourage you not to use education as a trophy. I mean, it could be a trophy, but it should also be a tool, and also be curious. Be very strategic in your thinking, be very rooted in communities. Roman has made mention of this. LinkedIn. I fight everyone around me, all the young people around me. The first thing I ask you, do you have a LinkedIn account? And if you do, who are you connecting with? Please let us not ignore the power of LinkedIn. There are many gigs that I've gotten just by being on LinkedIn. There are many opportunities that I've gotten just by being on on LinkedIn. And I want to think that most of my international opportunities have come from being verified on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. We're young people. This is the age of internet, AI, and all of that. But let us try to use these tools for good and to prosper or advance our professional life and everything that comes in between. And also, whatever we do, we should be able to carry Cameroon wherever we are. I'm so proud of what Romanus is doing back in the US, but don't just carry Cameroon as a flag, carry it as the fire that you have in you, and let people be able to say, I know you're Cameroonian because you have this fire, and I can identify it in other Cameroonians. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Thank you so much. Namata, culture shock in your last words. After this, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
be handing the floor back to
Thank you
Nadine,
very
who is
much.
going to look at the chats and the questions. So Namata, please, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a small story before I get into it. You know, my father, who is of late, also used to work with international organizations, and you know, he was always we always used to doubt why he always used to be the first person at the meetings. When they said community meetings at 3, he would be there maybe at 2:55, and then everyone would take maybe an hour more before getting there. I never understood it, but you know, now that I work in the international space, I really get it. Timeliness is especially between our cultures, and of course working with people who are from different cultures, especially people from, say, Nordic regions, people, Europeans. If it's 3 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. It's not, there's no African time, there's no black man time. That level of practicality, I think, is really different between both cultures. And I talked about it earlier, but an orientation to results is also a big part of the culture. It's not like, and this is not to be political, but if you take people in government who can turn around all day, and maybe produce almost nothing, and the productivity is pretty low. But you have to be very resource oriented at the beginning of the day to the end of the day. What have you done? How many people have you reached out to? Depending on the type of work that you do, that is really, really important. And that also means that you're coming up with new solutions, coming up with new ideas every day to enable the organization to do better and be better as well. And that is a bit different from our culture, our way of doing things, where we take a bit more time, and people are more comfortable giving excuses for things not being done. I think some of those differences in cultures are very big when you get into international organizations. But I think the most important thing is to be able to step up and say, hey, I want to be here, and making that effort to be on time, to be results oriented, to not make excuses, and to make sure that you do what you're expected to do, you do what you're paid to do, in general.
Your
My
last
last
words.
words, I
Thank
think,
you. As we're trying to
yeah,
round up.
something to conclude on. I think one thing that has really helped me, beyond the education, um, beyond the certificates, and the skills, and even the skills, is the ability to think big, which means look beyond your current environment. Where do you want to go? How far do you want to go? And it's that ability to think big and have a big vision that really helps you to drive that. If, for example, you want to become the Secretary General of the UN one day, you know how much work that would take. That would take so much work that maybe you're already behind, so you need to fast track everything. You need to put in 2 times the effort. You need to be on time. You need to put in so much, just to get the results and be visible enough to be able to potentially get to that position, maybe when you're in your 50s or 60s. So that is what thinking big is to me, and it really works, especially for people that are younger, that are coming out of school. You need to have that fire, that drive to think big, to want to do something. Not be complacent, not say, okay, because my classmate is not doing anything, we are together. But if you are someone who wants to achieve, you really have to think big and put in the work to get to that place. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've gotten that. Mildred, your last words. You were cut short. So after this, I'm going to be handing back to Nadine. Please don't move away. We know we've extended a lot in terms of time, but we know you have beautiful questions for these great minds. Shoot those questions out. Nadine will be able to coordinate it again once more, read out those questions, and you will be able to hear from these people. Mildred, your last words.
Thank you so much, Mr. Binka. My last words are, the world is very competitive. The business world is very competitive, but we need to first of all believe in ourselves, and we need to have a clear path where we want to be, believe in ourselves, and make efforts. Make efforts towards your dream. Study hard, believe in yourself, and you're going to get there. Let nothing discourage you. Even your friends, let no one discourage you. You can always get there. Believe in yourself. Study very hard. Make sure you stand a good chance to stand a competition. And I trust you always get there. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you all, great minds. Please, I know you have questions, but make sure you follow them up on LinkedIn. Frida said it all. That has been mentioned over and over. Find these people on LinkedIn, follow them, have conversations with them. We talked of mentorship. Learn about what the FUNIC and Rome Business School are doing to create minds like this. And if this is the point in time where you're thinking about how can I bridge up to where this is happening, Remember, we have mentors that you can be able to get. You have flag bearers like these that you can be able to look onto. Talk to the faculty and staff of Funike and Rome Business School, Cameroon, and see how you can also upskill and see how you can also gain some of these. Everyone kept saying it is not the normal kind of knowledge, right? Pick some of this not the normal kind of knowledge so that you can do not the normal kind of things and you can move out of the crowd. So thank you once more, our dear panelists. It was excellent. It was so beautiful. And I really love talking with you. Most of you have known you personally. I've seen what impact you're doing in the world, in the field. We're so proud of what you're doing. We're so proud to know that you're alumni of the Funike and Rome Business School. Thank you once more, Nadine. And over to you. We know there are lots of questions. Please give the opportunity to those in the audience to air these questions out and to get them responded to. Thank you once more. Thank you once more, and looking forward to future conversations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbinka. Thank you so much. And to our panelists, Ms. Frida, Ms. Mildred, Mr. Bamai Namata, it's been an absolute pleasure learning from your experiences, learning from your insights through these conversations tonight. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Unfortunately, because of time, we're not going to take on all these questions that have been asked. We're just hoping that you just slide into the chat boxes and respond to the questions that you can respond to clarify the participants. In the meantime, we'd like to call on the founder and the chairwoman of Funike Business School to address this webinar before we finally put a cap to it. Dr. Fotabe, are you with us right now?
Sure, I am. Sure, I am with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadine, Mr. Mbinka. Thank you. Always amazing. Bamaina Mata, you know that it's always a pleasure to listen to you. Mildred, it's been a while. I'm happy to see you and to hear all the things you're doing. Frida, thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience. Mr. Romanos, thank you very much for the powerful keynote address. It's always a pleasure to be in this community, to see that we all share one thing in common. That's Funike. It's even greater pleasure to hear all the things that you've achieved. I just want to thank you immensely for making our time to be with us this evening, to show the younger generation, even other people who are still aspiring, that it is possible to get to where you are. It is possible. You've done it. You're doing it. It's possible. Education is the springboard. You all have underlined it in so many ways. The education is not enough. We have to build skills. We have to build competencies. We have to build networks. You have said that very clearly, and I hope that everyone who has been here with us for these 2 weeks, these 2 days, has learned that, is taking that home. I have learned a lot today. I hope you too have. This is not going to be the end. Next week, we're going to have other webinars like this one with other alumni doing other things, and I'm looking forward to still having you all. Thank you very much, dear alumni. We have a lot of things, new things happening in Funike Business School. We know you're always there to support us. We'll keep reaching out, because without your support, we're not going to be able to do all the things that we plan to do. So thank you very much. I especially want to thank Mr. Mbinka. I know that you have a lot going on right now. You're planning for Rwanda, for the Customer Experience Summit in Rwanda, that you've been able to make time to be with us this evening. We really do appreciate. So thank you very much, Nadine. I cannot thank you enough. You
What is happening? I cannot get Dr. Emil. Is it just me or everyone?
Yeah, I was wondering if it was my connection that was disturbing instead. Well, participants, I think we lost Madame Emil for a second because she has, I'm very sure it's internet issues. So I'll just take a moment to, first of all, ask all the participants to kindly put on your cameras so we can have some group pictures as we are gradually coming to a close of this session. Please kindly put on your cameras so we have good pictures with everybody. Please put on your cameras. Let's take pictures and move on to the next. And while you do so, I would like most of our participants to be aware that we have a platform called Managing Africa. It's a platform I host, and pardon me, I speak to passionate Africans, entrepreneurs, people who are making changes in Cameroon, Africa, and of course beyond. So I am telling their success stories on Managing Africa. There's just a lot that we do. So please let's connect and share your stories on that platform. It airs on Dash Television. I'm still seeing lots of cameras closed. Can you kindly put on your cameras? Madam Lucy, you let us know when you're done with that so that we move on.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Miss Nadine, I'm sure you lost me for a while. I am
Yes.
done. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay. Well, dear participants, this has been an amazing session. I hope you can hear me because I'm seeing some notifications here. It has been an incredible 2 days. From thought-provoking keynotes to powerful panel discussions, the webinar has reminded us of the true purpose of a master's education, not just as a degree, but as a launchpad for relevance, leadership, and of course, global impact. Together, we have explored what it takes to thrive in international careers, to lead in development and humanitarian spaces, and to shape a future where knowledge meets purpose. To our esteemed speakers and keynote speakers, thank you so much for your wisdom, your stories, and your passion. You have not only inspired us, but you have also challenged us to think bigger. To our amazing audience, especially the proud alumni of Unique Business School, your energy, your engagement, your unwavering belief in the power of education have been the heartbeats of this event. So this is more than a webinar, it is a movement, the one that we are already led to, ready to build and ready to be relevant in the world that needs most of us. So let's carry this momentum forward and let your master's degree be more than just a title. Let it be a tool for transformation. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. The future is ours to shape. So until next time, stay inspired, stay relevant, and keep rising. Have a lovely evening, everybody. And thank you so much again for being with us this evening.
Bye-bye.
With that,
Thank
we've come to
you.
a close, except anyone has anything else to add.
All right.
Okay.
Oof.